Hello. Welcome to Grown Ass Women TV. Oh, yes, that is a hashtag. Thanks for noticing. Use that hashtag GAWTV when discussing our amazing show and what a show we have in store for you this evening. And if you haven't already noticed, we are already celebrating the kickoff to Pride Month. We are proudly representing for our LGBTQ plus community. And of course, it's something you should be celebrating all year long. And we do. But for the month of June, we have lined up an amazing guest for today. But before we get to that, let's make sure that you do us a fave and like this video.
I got excited. My computer just went. Did you see my computer? My computer shook. I got excited for that.
She's liking and she's loving. Make sure that you are subscribed to our channel. Very important. And last but not least, make sure that you hit that bell icon. Yes, which enables notifications so you never miss an episode of GAW TV every Wednesday here at 5 p.m. Eastern. And if you're watching live as the premiere goes on, we're in the chat room. So hello to the chat room as well. Hi, guys.
Oh my God. Hello, chat room. Hello, down below or sideways, whatever. Speaking of our Teespring store and having merch, we need to have a GAW TV bell.
We do.
Oh my gosh.
Good idea.
A GAW bell, if you will.
GAW bell. GAW bell.
Oh my gosh. Danny, if you're watching, you need to design us a little logo here. Or Ian, or whoever, Trey, whoever's watching here, Mickie D, whoever's watching. But, you know, we have a lot of other great stuff in our Teespring store.
We do.
Right here. The link is right here, flashing right before you. The GAW TV.
Floating below.
Yep. GAW pillow. The pillow.
Multicolors.
Yeah, like I know. I have to get a different one than you guys. Yeah. Yes. And also too, we're on podcast. And Spotify, you can watch the whole unedited version on Spotify. Spotify.
I know, what a cool feature that is.
Yeah,
I know.
And they can now do the full video episodes, and they get, you know, our listeners get them about a week later, or you could get them, I don't know, I'd say the day before full.
Shut your mouth. Shut your mouth.
I'm not doing it.
For real?
I'm not going to shut my face. Won't do it today. Got too much to say, you know? So you could go on over to our Patreon account. Not only do you get like all the full episode, unedited episode the day before, you also get a bunch of exclusives, behind the scenes content, all kinds of fun things, including our top tier Patreons. We always do a special gift. And ladies, I have to say, I want to give a huge thank you to VIP Creative, VIPCreativeusa.com, my friends Vito and Sandra, who sent out these beautiful, Lisa, show them what you got. These beautiful GAW TV cups, WrestleMania 2 with Tag Me In United cups, and these little things out to all of our ladies who donated dresses. Look at the box. They even did the box.
Yes.
And for our top tier Patreons, because we thought this was such a special event, and we were able to raise so much and do so much for Tag Me In United that we really love our listeners, and they were some of our #1 supporters, obviously. So we would love to send our top tier Patreons one of these beautiful, look, even in the bubble wrap, cups from our friends at VIP Creative. How about that?
So all of the June top tiers on patreon.com/GAWTV are going to receive that cup. Gorgeous.
I'm going to spend, and it's only, you know, there's limited edition because we literally only had this made for everyone who was a part of GAW TV, and we have a few left over, and I think it's just
perfect.
Right up your alley. Right up your alley.
Right there. How about that? Oh, and it comes with a little straw, you know.
So cute.
It does. It is cute, right?
Yes.
I was so excited. Mine got shipped to the UPS. I don't know why some of my shipping goes to UPS, but when I got it, I was like, I don't know this package. What the heck did I order on UPS? I thought it was.
Did yours not come in the box like this?
It did, but I didn't recognize it. And so Mickie, when I opened, I go, it's our cup. I was so excited. I go, oh my God. And then
I feel bad. I'm spoiling
my boyfriend, David was like, oh, they didn't send me one. And I'm like, well, you have to, you know what? You have to join our top tier Patreon.
Yeah, David. Be a June
David.
top tier patron, and then we'll be sure to send
I
you
feel
one
bad because
ASAP.
I'm spoiling it for you, Val, because you haven't you haven't gotten yours yet.
Well, that's what happens when you live across the pond. Dresselmania was a United States event, which of course we're doing it next year as well for Dresselmania 3. Dresselmania 3, if you will. That's for Anthony in the chat room. Yeah. So it's just going to get bigger and better. And as you said, we raised over 10,000 buco bucks.
Buco bucks.
Tag Me and United. So it's for a great cause. And we thought, yeah, great idea, Mickie, because it's for our top tiers who supported us not only, from day one, but many of them, as you said, they were donating as well on Dresselmania. So that's so cool.
It's so great.
Thank you.
It's exciting.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well,
no, thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys,
Thank
I'm
you.
very
Thank
excited.
you. No, hold on,
because-
Mickie. Thank you. Thank you. Hello. Thank you. You're welcome.
You're so close to that microphone. Getting
You're
real up in
welcome.
there.
I could start doing another channel. We can just do this.
Yeah.
Just talk like this into the microphone.
ASMR, you guys.
That's a thing.
It's a thing. We did say
Apparently
we're going to
Cardi
do
B does it.
mukbang as well.
1-800-GET-GIRL.
Speaking of 1-800-GET-GIRL, you guys, I'm very excited for our guest. No,
1-800
honestly,
get Pollo.
yes. Seriously, so excited for our guest today. Not only are we excited to obviously celebrate all of Pride Month, and we've lined up amazing guests all month long, but to kick off Pride Month, one of my dear friends who I adore, obviously was a massive part of Empower and NWA's Empower and coming out with Jamie Senegal, but also I've just gotten to know her on a different level and just seeing her passion shine through. And I just can't wait to share her with the world, our world. Miss
Yeah.
Pollo de Mar.
Yay, welcome.
Hey.
God.
Pollo de Mar, my love. Hello, you look
Hello, you look beautiful.
Yes, we're clearly
Oh my-
fans of yours, pun intended.
We love fans. We love fans around here. We love
Yes.
fangirling. I'm fangirling right now because I'm with the three of you. Oh my God.
Oh my gosh.
Stunning.
I love you so much. I was just telling the ladies all about you and how obviously stuff that you're doing with NWA and stuff that you've been doing and how we met. But we're obviously celebrating Pride Month this month. This is from our friend Ginger Minch.
Yep.
She sent us fans and we thought it was appropriate because we were gonna fangirl for you.
I love Ginger Minch too.
Yeah.
She's a glamour toad.
She is the
glamour
glamour toad. So shout out to her and my favorite bear, CJ, who I was sending bear gifts to yesterday. It's always that bear waving. You know which one I'm talking about? That's like, hello. That one. So cute. Well, Pollo, we're so thrilled to have you for a dose of much needed glamour here in the kickoff to Pride Month on GAW TV. But we have to ask you the question we ask all of our lovely guests.
Ooh.
Who are you wearing and what are you drinking this evening?
Well, I am wearing something custom made. I always do customs for the most part because a lady of my ample size and statuesque figure just can't really buy off the rack. Otherwise, it just doesn't fit on the rack. So,
I see what you did there.
and I'm drinking this ginormous big gulp from my local Chevron Extra Mile.
You're so
Most extra, it says.
most extra.
Yeah,
how
I have to
appropriate.
say, you're giving me Lisa Frank vibes. Remember her?
Oh, you know what? The funny part is I used the Lisa Frank palette to make this look.
I mean, did we just
The
become
Lisa
best
Frank
friends?
palette from Morphe Cosmetics.
Yep.
And Lisa, Morphe, you were just introduced to Morphe here in the UK. We were in Liverpool with Tori Wilson and Candice Michelle, and we were all shopping, and we all fell in love with Morphe. I had heard about it a couple of times, loving like Jaclyn Hill and makeup tutorials. But Lisa, remember how nuts we went in that Morphe shop in Liverpool? So
Yes. And it's inexpensive, you guys.
good. I know.
It
So
was so
That's the big key, really, Lisa, because I work in the beauty industry and I am around a lot of cosmetics. And one of the things that I always want for myself is it has to be intensely pigmented. Number one, I need that. It has to be long wear. And then the third part is because one can only imagine how quickly I go through my favorite colors of cosmetics. It has to be affordable. And Morphe Cosmetics provides all of those. And anybody who has an actual Morphe store near their home is blessed. I am blessed. And I refuse to allow myself to go in there more than once a month because you can't see it behind me. This is all makeup. And like, there's at least 2 to 3 drawers that is nothing but different eyeshadow palettes alone.
Wow.
Obsessed.
I love a good palette.
I wish we could just do beauty tutorials instead of actual interviews like that. I love that kind of stuff. I love it so much. I will actually go next only because we are kicking off Pride, and I will take a little bit of rosé. I may or may not have done a courage shot in my apropos. Talk about Pride and my, you know, my personal hero, RuPaul, my little RuPaul shot glass my best friend Erin gave me. I thought that was very apropos. And I wanted to do what I think of when I think of Pride. I think of rainbow. I think of sparkles. So that's what I was trying to convey this evening.
Ooh, I love
Look
it.
lovely, darling.
Thank
Lovely.
you. And Mickie, how about you?
I'm doing my hardcore wrestling t-shirt.
Ooh.
Because it has the rainbow and I thought and a unicorn, and it felt right in the vibe, you know.
No one's paying attention to the logo. No one's paying attention to the logo.
Yeah, can you come back to the camera like that?
Oh my gosh, definitely. Even I'm not paying attention to the logo.
Exactly.
And a little zero sugar Dr. Pepper, established in 1855, which I feel like I just finally looked at that and read that today for the first time. How about that?
The doctor is in.
Yeah, I love a good Dr. Pepper.
Yeah,
a little pep in my step. I just also learned this trick.
Ironically,
today.
this is Diet Dr. Pepper in my giant thing.
Oh.
Yeah, doctor is in.
What'd you learn, Mickie? What'd you learn?
This one, and I just went to go do it and I failed.
It's very satisfying.
Well, I'll go next, you guys. I'm so excited. I'm wearing my RuPaul Drag Con because I just did LA's Drag Con this year with the Wrestling Guy store, which you know, David Gomez and his son, Justa Gomez, who all the drag queens at RuPaul Drag Con was asking Justice what foundation he was wearing.
Ooh.
Yes. And so people were, yes. And I'm wearing, yes, I walked the pink carpet.
Oh
Look
my
at
God.
you.
Can I just tell you
the pictures and videos? They look like you had a blast.
That is an honor.
You know what? It's not a show I go to make money. It's the show that I volunteered for because it's such a good time. And RuPaul was DJing and I was doing this and Roger Rabbit, and he kept on copying me. I told you this on the last show and I was marking out big time. I was like, oh my gosh. And the Justice was going, oh, he's doing all the moves you're doing. I go, oh my God, it's a blast, you guys. It's a must convention. It's no judgment. People are so free. They are partying. I got free makeup and it was, I guess I obviously needed help. I
But
get
it is like trick-or-treating when you're there. There's like just everything, sparkly jewelry, everything.
It's so much, and amazing gear. And Pollo, I did extra contour, but my light is so bright because I have windows. I did extra contouring for you, but you can't see it because it's so bright in my apartment.
But and you're so stunning, you barely even notice. Like, who could notice your contour when you look so gorge? Hello.
Oh my God, I'll pay you later, Pollo.
Yeah.
You met my friend Marco Mayor, one of the wrestlers I managed. He came up, he was like, oh my God, Lisa is at Drag Con, and was so excited to meet you.
I remember him.
Yeah.
Give him my love. I give him my love. I had so much fun.
Talk about marking out. I often, when I'm like texting with Mickie, I'll send him little screen caps just to rub in his face because he's such a huge fan of all of you.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Well, have you had the Drag Con experience before? Have you ever been
that's what I was going to ask.
You know, I've never gone to Drag Con. I remember many times wanting to do it. And there was a point in my career as a drag performer where I thought about going, as an exhibitor, because I've been doing drag a really long time before pre-Drag Race. And then at some point, my career sort of was just so busy. I didn't want to go somewhere like that. And then I don't know, I felt I feel like a traitor to the gay way, but I felt almost disenchanted by Drag Race after a hot second. So I really stepped away from that world. And one of the reasons I'll tell you is, and I think that you'll understand this, even though it's not about wrestling, but so in the world of drag, after Drag Race happened, it became the perception of Drag Race for drag performers became almost like the perception of WWE for professional wrestlers. Like, if you don't go on Drag Race, you're a nobody. you don't matter, like you're not valid. And I auditioned multiple times for Drag Race, and I would have loved to have gone on early in my career. And at some point I had this realization that my person, my career, my artistry, and my impact is not based on whether or not I've been on a reality television show, even for one episode.
Yeah.
You know, like I no longer put my self-worth and allowed it to hinge on somebody else's opinion of me, usually a casting director's opinion of me. So at that point in time, I didn't want as much to be on the show, but after a while as a viewer, I also became disenchanted because I felt like some of the things just felt really repetitive. And I felt the same way about it. Sometimes I do about wrestling, where I was like, I feel like I've seen this before.
Yeah. You get a little jaded. You can't help it. Yeah. I feel you.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's interesting that you say that too, because I feel, I don't know that people knew as much about drag and that whole world until Drag Race, but then that's an interesting thing, because you say you've been doing it for so long, and so how that journey even changed with the success of Drag Race, right? Like we think about it, like RuPaul, aside from in movies and stuff, for me, especially because I come from such a small town, the only time I ever saw a drag queen was in, RuPaul, and then the movie, obviously, because it was Patrick Swayze. It was what was that movie?
Tu Wong Fu.
Yes.
The Bible.
Yeah, that. And then just, television, it was not something that I was familiar with until I grew up and went outside of Montpelier, Virginia. Right. So, and then here comes Drag Race, and you're like, oh, this is a whole world, that is kind of opened up. There's like, this is such a massive thing that you learn so much. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You do.
I was a massive fan.
The parallels between pro wrestling and drag are so massive. And I think that, I also think there's a huge crossover of our fan bases as well. And nobody recognized that. I think that it took years for that kind of correlation to be recognized. And I feel very fortunate to be, in some ways, like maybe a trailblazer in some people's mind, and certainly like a beneficiary of whatever came before me that allowed for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did the drag con like 2 years ago. 2019 was my first one. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing here. There's not going to be a big, huge wrestling fan base. Wow. Was I surprised? And Priyanka came to my table and didn't have her hair done. And she was like, thank you for like my childhood. Oh my gosh. Because when we go on stage, we're in freaking glam outfits and we're another persona. And I learned so much about it. And I was like, I'll go to I don't care if I make money at it. I'll be honest with you. Ginger didn't even have a booth there. She said there were so many drag queens, I think 600 there. And I just had fun just stopping people in the aisle. Can I take a picture with you? Can I take a picture with you? It's just a fun, loving atmosphere.
Yeah.
For just a moment, Lisa, to be able to be in a place where that people acknowledge and appreciate you, but where you also get to acknowledge and appreciate them. Like you get to be, it's not cool to do that when we're in a dress, like the locker room with other wrestlers. Like no matter who the person is, you're like, oh my God, I don't want to be that person. But there you get to go and you just get to be a fan, and share that love.
Exactly. And then seeing like there's a couple booths that had the they're the muumuus, not muumuus, they're see-through. Is it called graph? Wait, the graph dresses? No, I'm saying it wrong. Okay. And like so many drag queens were coming down the aisle and you can see all the booths they were tearing up. They're like, that was my childhood. And that they made me more comfortable coming out of the closet and being who I am, and seeing like that part, like it's so beautiful. And every convention we should be like that. So don't be so judgmental in the wrestling industry, you guys.
Yeah.
This is a lesson learned. We're human too. We're human.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm holding up my Sasha Velour pillow because she's my personal Jesus. And when I met her, Lisa, I told you guys, my husband got me a meet and greet, and I could cry talking about it. She's just changing the world and doing like, good work. Like this, I can't even talk. I'll start crying literally. And I cried when I met her. My hands were clammy. Her wonderful husband, Johnny Velour, I said, I'm freaking out. And he goes, it's okay, honey. You just come and you stand by me and I'll freak out with you. The nicest people ever. But it's really interesting, Pollo. If I could ask you a question, being a massive drag fan, who's been to Drag World and the actual drag cons? So yes, I saw RuPaul. It's like seeing a royal or a president, but better, in my opinion. And when I was at these conventions, I thought it was interesting to hear from a lot of professionals in drag that the thing they sort of have a problem with, and they talk about being jaded and things. The clientele, the fans, are about from 18 to maybe 25 years old, and there's cis female, young girls that love Drag Race, which is wonderful, and I'm sure it's really elevated it, and monetarily speaking, it's really helped the industry. But there's a bit of a disconnect, I think, sometimes where I think people in the drag community are like, okay, but that's not our only audience. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that like I said, I'm going to draw correlations a lot between wrestling and drag.
Yeah.
And, I think that, for example, in the wrestling world, we look at, we program towards say 14 to 35-year-old cis men, right?
Yeah.
And then there's entire worlds of people who want to appreciate our art form, but they're not being fed because we're not programming to them.
Right.
And back in the day, cis women have always been huge proponents for, you ask any LGBTQ person, specifically any gay man, and we would all tell you that our role models growing up generally were women, strong women, specifically, whether in our household or outside, because that's where we generally felt the least judgment and the most love. Mm-hmm. And that translates to female friends, and so many times the girl that we dated in middle school and high school who later became our fag hag, all of this, we love that. And that's certainly part of our community. And that's why I always remind people, there is an A in that long acronym that we have that stands for allies, like the three of you who love and support us and elevate us and speak on our behalf many times when we can't. But I will tell you, as the world of Drag Race, for example, has opened us to the kind of global popularity of that franchise, a lot of, I'm going to be very frank here, a lot of the subversive, underground, raunchy, foul-mouthed, nasty things that I loved doing on stage just to be outrageous, that's not cool anymore because they're not politically correct. They can offend people. They can hurt people's feelings or trigger people. And I'm just like, well, this is all various shades of, the spectrum of our artistry.
Yeah.
So,
right.
This right here is only one facet of the multitude of personalities and artistic representation that live inside me.
Right.
So it can be, I think it can be frustrating at times, but I try to never forget that the public very definitely paid my bills for many years as a drag performer.
Right.
And while I don't think I owe those people any explanation for my decision-making or the way I live my life or the way I express myself, what I do take into consideration is just being mindful that there is a broader spectrum of people.
But we were talking about this before, and I wanted to bring it up to you because even knowing pronouns and things, it can be a little confusing. But what I was saying about being an ally, this is just me as an outsider, but I said, I think it just means that if your heart and your intention is in the right place, I'm gonna get upset.
Oh, I knew it.
Yeah,
I knew it.
But my point is, if you're
waiting for this,
it's okay. It's okay to ask questions, and you don't want to. I never want to offend, or I never want to because I have so much love for the community. I always want to make sure that I'm asking the right questions. And I think if your heart's in the right place, asking, "Hey, what do you prefer?" or "Is this inappropriate?" or whatever. There's certain terms that even I, have to ask about. And would you agree that that's part of being an ally, is asking questions? And what does it mean to you when someone says they're an ally?
Wow, that is actually not a simple question.
Yes.
And the reason that I think it's not a simple answer is because I think that for every person, there would probably be a different expectation or answer for what they want from an ally. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of parallels that I could draw between being an ally to the LGBTQ community and being an ally, for example, or a supporter for women's equality, right? Because of the fact that what you are ultimately doing is trying to empower people who traditionally have not been in a position to have that influence in whatever environment you're in. So for me, you know, one of the things I've learned, for example, as an ally to women, is that women don't always need me to speak for them. Like what I can do is stand next to them and they say what they have to say. And then I say, yeah, what she said, but it can also be very simple things like being that voice for somebody if they're not in the room, where you say, you know what, that wasn't funny. Like that would be really hurtful. That doesn't seem appropriate.
Right.
And in many ways, some of the simplest ways to be an ally to any community that is underrepresented and undervoiced is to use whatever platform we have to amplify it. Like I don't, for example, if I see conversations among my friends who are racial minorities, like I don't have to chime into that conversation because that is their conversation. And I certainly don't have a place to voice always my opinion on it, but I can share that because I've got perhaps a following of people that can hear that and learn from that.
Right.
But I also do think that asking questions is very important, because how can we be a true ally for those that we don't have a firm understanding of?
Mm-hmm.
And a big part of that, I do believe, comes from being confident and comfortable in a relationship that you have with an individual. Because I have been in situations in public where there were things that I did not understand about individuals or whatever, but I didn't have the relationship with that person to ask them. That's intrusive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if I do have an individual in my life who perhaps is reflective in some capacities of what I've experienced, I may go to them and say, hey, could you tell me a little more about this? And I'll give you an example, Mickie. Like I know that you are a very proud Native American, and my drag mother is also Native American. I mean, really, really Native American. And so there have been many opportunities that I've had to learn and grow my education and understanding of the life experiences of those who grow up as Native Americans.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result of that, it makes me more conscientious in my decision making. And even though I'm not like out there doing anything in an outward way, I am an ally just by being knowledgeable and having my personal decision making informed as I move forward.
Yeah,
informed is a beautiful word. Like, yeah.
Beautiful answer.
Yeah.
I also want to. Can I share something? This is so, so specific, but it really touches on this topic.
Uh-huh.
It happened, Mickie, at the last set of NWA tapings, and I will not name it the individual, but that participated in this conversation, but let's just say that it's somebody who is NWA tried and true, and certainly like salt of the earth, good old boy type of vibes. Someone who has been beyond kind to me every time I've encountered them since NWA in power, has been just a literal joy to be around. And we were there, and I don't look like this all the time, y'all. Like I'm underneath this, like this is what I do. It's not who I am, if that makes sense.
Sure.
And so this individual came up to me in the locker room and said, hey, I have a question for you. And I said, okay, sure. What's going on? And said, I don't even know how to approach this subject, but I want to make certain that I'm not being offensive or offending you.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, oh, let me guess, is it the gender thing? And he nodded, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, let's have a conversation about that. I'm like, I explained to him, like, I play a character. That character is a female.
Mm-hmm.
Who I am underneath that character is a guy. Like, if I, just in the same way as if I played an Ewok in Star Wars, I'm not really an Ewok. Like, that's my character, and I want you to respond to that character appropriately,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not who I am underneath.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people, as I explained, who present a way no matter what your perception of that presentation might be, who they are outwardly to the world. And the most respectful thing we can do, which costs us no dollars, no effort, and nothing, is just accept that however they are and who they see themselves is who we should respond to.
Right.
So that means that it doesn't matter who the other person is. If they are a he, him, they can be a he, him to me. And better yet, if I don't feel comfortable calling you by whatever pronoun you choose, tell me your name and I will call you by your name all the time. And that's really easy.
Right.
Like I've called each one of you by your name and I don't think I've ever responded to her, like I had to not include a pronoun. But that conversation was so uncomfortable to him. But I respected him already before that, but miles more afterwards, because he expressed in that one moment that he valued my feelings enough to be uncomfortable for 30 seconds.
Yeah.
And
He respected yours.
Yeah. He was uncomfortable to make you comfortable. He made effort to make sure that you were comfortable.
Yes,
By asking
exactly.
that
That's a
question.
lot. That's
Yeah.
a lot. That's a
That's
milestone.
amazing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
See, that's progress, y'all. We're doing it.
Yeah.
It is real
It's
progress,
happening.
especially when you say salt of the earth, good old boy. Because I do think that there's this this misconception that, and maybe I say this because I am Southern Virginia, and don't get me wrong, with their Bible Belt, here in Tennessee the same way. It's like, but I do feel like there is a lot of love and acceptance. And you guys know one of my best friends in high school was gay, but he wasn't from Virginia. He moved down there, but one of my best friends all the way up, and he passed away a couple of years ago, but was gay. And I remember him going through a lot of struggles coming to school there, because he was one of the few openly gay boys in a high school with a graduating class of like 200 kids, and it was very, very difficult for him to adjust and feel accepted and feel loved. And I was just so grateful, that we got to know each other. But I remember the reason why we became friends is because he came to me. I was driving and I lived, this is a completely unrelated story, but he lived right on the same road that I did. And so he knew that my sister and I would drive to school every single day. I would drive. And he asked me one day, he came to me, and I never really met him. And he said, "Hey, I've just moved here and I see you drive to school. I'm on the bus. Can I ride with you so I don't have to ride the bus anymore?" Like, he was getting picked on in school, and I rode that bus and I got picked on that bus. So I knew, and I already knew. And I was like, "You can ride with me every day, anywhere I go." So just
oh my God, that bus ride when you're a child that's different is a nightmare. It's being locked in a piranha tank and they're just eating at you bite by bite.
Yeah. Kids can be so cruel and so mean. Well, no, I really am grateful that you answered the question so beautifully. And that's because, when people are watching, it's always like a subject where they're like, well, and I think, you hit the nail on the head. It's really
and I feel like I've been in that same situation. I often have that same question of like how one wants to be. And you would assume, if you were just assuming, when you are Paul, you are Paul. And when you're Pollo, you're Pollo. That's what, but for everyone, it really is different, isn't it? So it is an individual kind of question. And like you said, it costs no one anything, or just, hey, what's your name?
Yeah.
It's beautiful too.
And like, I think that's such, it's always challenging for me to figure out why some people, and I do understand that like everybody can have different beliefs and convictions, but there are certain ways that we are all equipped to interact with each other in ways that may not necessarily be to our exact liking, but but they're done to be pleasant or to be polite. And we would do those in any other situation. So why, when somebody requests us to do it, is it sometimes problematic?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Manners cost nothing. Yeah. If we're going to leave any message tonight, that's what we're going to say. Manners cost nothing. And we are so thrilled that you could be our first special guest kicking off Pride Month. Pollo Del Mar, what a star you are. My gosh.
I love you so much.
Can you just be here?
We love you.
To a show, because you're amazing.
I'm going to send them your phone number, because y'all are going to be best friends forever.
Please. I
Yes.
would love that. Well, cheers to you, my dear. Cheers, everyone watching. Thank you so much. We're going to put all
Love
of your
you.
details below so they can stay updated on all your amazing career. Go on,
Congratulations
You're
on
doing it
everything,
all.
on PWI, on NWA, on just you being you, on the movie,
Yes.
on just thanks for being my friend.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Thank you for being a friend.
A friend. Yes.
Travel
my
down the
gosh.
road and back again.
When we go off there, we're going to do
The
karaoke.
heart is true and your pal and a
And a
confidant.
confidant. We love you. Cheers, everybody.
We love you. Cheers,
y'all.
everybody.
Most extra.
Oh my God.
Most. The most.
This is the word to go, yo.